How do folks feel when they service their cars with Napa brand parts?
Satisfied.
On top of the world.
Listen to it. Just listen to it.
I did it. And no parts left over.
Lots of Napa brand parts are better than a car's original parts. And using quality parts produces results that make folks feel
great.
When the name is Napa, the standard is quality.
What would happen if you could take the turbo diesel engine from the Mercedes-Benz 300 SD turbo diesel sedan and put it into the Mercedes-Benz station wagon? This would happen. That's exactly what Mercedes-Benz did for 1981. Introducing the world's first turbo diesel station wagon, the Mercedes-Benz 300 TD.
Two special Thanksgiving treats. First, a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Then, a brand new special, Thanksgiving in the Land of Oz. Be watching Tuesday at 8, 7 Central Mountain.
The quarterback shuffle continues. Joe Montana now comes in, replacing Steve DeBerg. And I've heard that this is really playing with Steve DeBerg's mind. He really has been affected by this shuffle.
He sure has.
And here is Earl Cooper breaking out of the pack for a first down to the 30-yard line. And that would help if San Francisco get their running game going, as they just haven't been able to. A 12-yard pickup.
That's the thing. Again, there was only one back in the backfield. They had a two tight end situation which spread the Giants defense out, and then Cooper was able to find a hole to the inside and get up for a first down. If the 49ers are really going to be effective offensively, they have to be able to run the ball some.
They have no one back this year in the 1980 season that's rushed for 100 yards in any one game. First down from the 30-yard line. Cooper again. Cooper at 6'2", 227. Close to the 35. I want to go back to that DeBerg Montana thing for a moment. Here is DeBerg. Now, they say that the shuffle hasn't affected Montana so much, but it really has affected him.
It's affected DeBerg, and we saw it when he came off and he was on the sideline there. You could just see it in his eyes, and I think it's very difficult, especially for a quarterback who has been the starter. Steve DeBerg was this year and last year, because he has to have confidence. He has to have confidence in himself and in his team. And when you go in and out, it's a very difficult thing.
Second down and 7. Montana to Cooper again. Cooper to the 40. First down, 45, 50. He may go. Down to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Earl Cooper on a real harmless looking play on a pass in the flat area, just went 66 yards for a touchdown.
That's the thing with an Earl Cooper, as we see it again here. Again, he's the only back in the backfield. The ends go down the field. Cooper's just an outlet. He hits the thing. But watch this explosion. Watch him take off up that sideline. Now, he knows he doesn't want to leave the ball on the goal line. He wants to get it in the end zone so they don't have to worry about scoring in a goal line formation.
Well, they were talking about this guy having the rookie blues, but I think that may help a little bit.
Well, I don't think he had the rookie blues either. I don't agree with that.
We'll develop that in a little bit. Boy, John Harris threw a big block on that last play, as did Freddie Solomon. Ray Wersching, point after attempt is on the way. And San Francisco leads it 7-0 with 11:19 to go in this first half of play, as Earl Cooper with a 66-yard pass run play. The 49ers, who lead the NFC in passing offense, picking up 66 yards in a hurry.
Excuse me. I'm not the same crazy coach who used to storm around the sidelines yelling at the officials. I've learned to relax, and I drink light beer from Miller. Do you know that light's got 1/3 less calories than a regular beer? And listen to this. Light doesn't fill me up. Besides that, light tastes fantastic. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other beers around, and you can drink any one you want. But let me tell you this. For
light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
As I was saying, I don't care what anybody else...
Introducing a small wonder, the new Toyota Starlet. Born small to solve big problems. Born small to deliver more miles per gallon of gas than any other car, and designed to help beat higher maintenance costs. The very new Toyota Starlet. Born small. In fact, it just may be the first small wonder of the world.
Oh, what a feeling.
Starlet.
Toyota.
Earl Cooper, that 66-yard touchdown. We're talking about the rookie blues that were written up on the papers here.
Well, what happens, you know, a player comes into the National Football League, and he's been used to playing 10 or 11 games in high school, 10 or 11 games in college. He plays 10 or 11 games, and you tell him they're halfway through, and that does have an effect on him at that time.
This is Beasley Reese bringing the ball out for New York, who trails 7-0, and he has dropped at the 18-yard line. Now for another sports update, let's go to Brent Musburger.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. 4 minutes into overtime. Pat Leahy, who had missed a 36-yarder with 6 seconds to go, hit this 38-yarder, and the New York Jets upset the Houston Oilers 31-28. Joy on the face of Walt Michaels and the Jets. Back now to Gary Bender.
The Giants, after that 17-yard return by Beasley Reese, have the ball at the 18. They trail 7-0. 11 minutes, 10 seconds to go in this second quarter of play. Billy Taylor on the quick pitch. Taylor makes the big cut. Doesn't get but about a yard. You could see the turf really torn up on that move by Taylor. We now have a final. The New York Jets have defeated Houston in overtime 31-28, and is that something?
Right, a 38-yard field goal. Pat Leahy.
Here we have a 2nd down and 9 as Ray Perkins.
He's all wired up too, isn't he?
You didn't wear a headset?
No, I never did any of that.
You didn't want to hear all the confusion, or what?
I probably wasn't smart enough to listen and talk at the same time.
2nd down 9. Sims back. Out of time. Off to Taylor. Taylor breaks it out to the 25. That'll be 4 yards short of the first down. John, evidently, San Francisco's covering well because Sims has had time to throw, but hasn't anybody open thus far.
Right, and he had to go to his back out there. What that pattern was is they have a pattern down the field with the ends. Then they put one back right out on the line of scrimmage, and they put a lineman out with them. They had Jim Clack, their center, out on the right-hand side. Now, if everyone drops off, he just throws, and it's a one-man screen. If they come up, then he can throw deep. That last play, neither one worked.
3rd down and 4 for the Giants from their own 25-yard line. Brady at the bottom of the screen, split out. Sims trying to get out of difficulty. Got away from Jim Stuckey. He just tossed it to the feet of Tom Mulledy. As that time, Stuckey just couldn't seem to get Sims down. Sims couldn't find anybody open. And it's a kicking situation once again for New York.
Phil Sims is strong, isn't he? As he stands in there, he's waiting and waiting and looking. He still has one hanging on his foot. He's still looking and waiting. I'll tell you one thing, the Giants' pass protection on passing downs has really not been effective this first half.
This is Jennings, who's been struggling today, kicking from the 10-yard line. I think it's interesting that he would come in here, John, as you mentioned, and be a little intimidated by this place.
Candlestick Park has intimidated a lot of them.
Well, that's a fine kick, though. Dwight Hicks. Hicks from the 35 to the 36-yard line. Hicks is the man who played his collegiate football at Michigan, was cut by the Detroit Lions, was running a health food store. When the 49ers were looking for some help in the secondary, they called him, and they feel he has a long career in the National Football League.
Imagine a hot ball of light that you've got to get rid of. It gets passed to you faster and faster. That's the thrill of Strobe. Strobe, the frantic new electronic action game. As the hot ball of light gets passed to you, press the button fast to get rid of it.
Can you take the pressure?
Make one bad pass and... Strobe, the fast action hot ball of light game from Lakeside.
Need your help. Is it me or my 1981 Toyota Corolla? Watch. See what I mean? I know Corolla looks like a million, got plenty of style, not to mention a peppy 1.8-liter engine. But I ask you, is it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Give me a ride to the library?
Tell me, was it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Oh, what a feeling.
Your Corolla!
Toyota.
Next Saturday, precision and daring as pilots from around the world wing it on the CBS Sports, and the battle of the NFL cheerleaders continues next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Well, Dave Jennings looked like the Jennings of old on that last kick. It went 49 yards. And as an end result, San Francisco has it at the 36. Green Bay leading the Vikings. The Vikings need to win to stay even with Detroit, who won earlier today in that NFC Central Division. Montana off to Cooper again, and Cooper is having a day, isn't he? That's close to another first down. John Scorpan over to make the stop. And I guess, John, when something's working, just go right back to it.
You just stay with it. And the reason that I said I didn't think that Earl Cooper was really having the rookie blues, we watched him on film, and he looks like he's been playing very well. Now, again, he doesn't have good rushing statistics because the 49ers are not a good rushing team.
That is some people up front, huh?
But if you get him the ball, he knows what to do with it.
There was an example of it. He's just short of the first down. Second down, a half yard to go. Cooper off to a big afternoon thus far for the 49ers. This is Cooper again. He has a first down as he's close to the 50-yard line. You can see this 49er team is really picked up by that long touchdown. Now for another sports update to New York and Brent Musburger.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. I'm not sure if the Pittsburgh Steelers now can battle back and even get into the playoffs this year. Watch what Joe Ferguson and the Buffalo Bills did. Jerry Butler with a great reception in the end zone. 28-13, Bills over the defending world champions. 7-5, the Steelers record. Back to Gary Bender.
First down, back to throw, Montana. Montana, that's his man. That's James Owens, and Owens for a first down to the 32-yard line. And right now, San Francisco, I think, has this New York team a little shaken. They've gone to Cooper, and it's starting to open up their wide receivers.
Well, they have. They've changed quarterbacks. Joe Montana came in. The first series he was in, he drove for a touchdown, got the big play to Cooper, and now he's moving the ball again. The thing that they're doing, Gary, is they're using a lot of formations. 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, 1 back in the backfield, 2 back high, and it has really been an unsettling thing for the Giant defense.
Well, Bill Walsh is known as a pass master, and he's getting it going today. Here's Cooper running now, and they're starting to get that running game rolling because the passing game is moving. Cooper already has over 30 yards rushing and 84 yards receiving, as that ball will be marked at the 25-yard line, 4 yards short of the first down. Earl Cooper, he was the 13th player taken in the first round. He played at Rice, really didn't get a lot of publicity because they never had a winning season. In fact, his senior year, the Rice Owls won only 1 game.
I wonder what he thought when he played for a college team that won 1 game, was drafted by a pro team that won 2.
On a little delay, Tom Woods, and Woods to the 21-yard line is shoved back. Well, the 49ers started the year out very effectively, winning their first 3, but now have lost 8 in a row. George Martin making the stop. Here is Montana. A year ago, he was their 3rd-round draft pick out of Notre Dame. He led the Fighting Irish 1 year to a national championship in 1977. He started only 1 game last year. He's had 3 starts this year. The first start he had was in a game against the Los Angeles Rams. At that time, John, it was thought that maybe that was a permanent change, but as you can see today, DeBerg is still in the picture. That last play was enough for the first down.
There we see Steve DeBerg there. He's signaling in. Bill Walsh gives Steve DeBerg the play, then he signals it in to Joe Montana.
So the ball just short of the 21 as Ray Perkins. Looks like he expected some rain today. He's got his rain suit on over there. I saw you. You never wore a coat. Shirt sleeves, you and Woody Hayes.
Didn't know any better.
First down, Earl Cooper on the quick pitch. John Scorpan is there. Nice play by Scorpan. Scorpan has been pressed into services this year due to the injury to Brian Kelly. The leading tackler has a couple of sacks. Played 5 years with the Buffalo Bills. Cooper that time just got maybe a half yard, and that's all. Phil Tabor now will come in. McGriff will leave. Now that's a change they make. They like Tabor in there on passing plays.
What they like to do is when they go to a 4-man line, they'll bring in Phil Tabor and Myron Lapke, and they'll play the 2 inside tackle positions with the normal ends playing and take McGriff out.
I saw Phil Tabor and his brother Paul Tabor in the preseason, and they are identical twins. You cannot tell them apart. Paul is center for the Chicago Bears. Montana back. Second down. Tries to hit Cooper. Deflected. And that may have been Tabor who just checked in, or George Martin. Both of them around the football, and it'll bring up third down as getting up very slowly, Gary Jeter.
This was the thing that we always want to do. They only have a 3-man rush. They're starting here to get a push. Now, once the quarterback starts to throw, you get your hands up to block it.
Looks like that was Martin that did that.
Yes, that was Martin.
Martin was 6 sacks this year, and as we mentioned earlier, he had an excellent game last week. We'll see him in on offense. They'll bring him in on some goal line situations.
Right, as a third tight end. Now, Joe Montana is going to have to throw the ball up the field on this play, Gary.
Third down, virtually 10 yards to go. Montana over the middle, and it's intercepted by Beasley Reese. Reese is out to the 5-yard line. 2 receivers were down there in the same area that time. Looked like they crossed towards each other. And Reese was back there, and Beasley Reese has his 2nd interception of the year.
That's what happened. It was a crossing pattern. Now, one is supposed to go underneath the other. As they crossed here, it looked like they were both at the same depth, which brought 3 defenders to the same area. Reese didn't want to go out of the end zone. Once that foot stepped out, though, he knew he had to go.
And so they do not have the field position, but they do have the football, as Bill Walsh talking to Joe Montana. Montana this year has thrown 5 interceptions and 7 touchdowns. That time he didn't look like he had good position when he threw the football.
No, he didn't. And again, it was a third down. He knew that he had to get it into the end zone. But again, his crossing pattern really wasn't the design that it should have been.
First down from the 7. Sims is safety. He's hit by Jim Stuckey. Jim Stuckey from Clemson, and it's a 3-0, check that, 2-0 game now as Stuckey came pouring through. Sims gambling deep in his own territory, and boy, did he get belted on this play.
That was the thing about that play. You know, when you're throwing, when you're backed up against the goal line, you don't like to be throwing there, because if you do, of course, it's a 2-point play, or if you have holding in the end zone, it's 2 points. So now the Giants lost that 2 points, which makes it 9-0. Plus, they have a free kick now from the 20, which means that Dave Jennings will come in and punt to the 49er kickoff return team.
You know, we had a game here earlier, John, where we thought there was a safety and wasn't, but boy, there was no question about that one.
No, the ball did go into the end zone, and that was, no one questioned that one.
Stuckey had to learn some pass rushing techniques. I think he's gone to school the way that last play looked. So well, Jennings will kick.
Of course, you know, when you get to this part of the season and you're talking about the 12th game, you're really not a rookie anymore. I think a player is a rookie if he's starting those first 6, 7, 8 games. But once you get past the midway point, you're awfully close to being a veteran.
And so 9-0 is our score after that safety by Stuckey, hitting Sims in the bounds.
Again, you see that was their punt returner, Freddie Solomon, in there along with their kickoff return team. They had a wedge return on that play. It was going to be a middle. He started up the middle, then broke to the outside.
Solomon, as we said, leading the NFC in punt returns, averaging 11-9, and on that one he got a 33-yard return to the 35 of New York. The 49ers with a 9-0 lead. 5.5 minutes to go in this first half of play. Freddie Solomon split to the bottom of the screen. Dwight Clark to the top. Joe Montana. Dwight Clark, the intended receiver, out of bounds, just short of the first down, but there is a flag on the play. The flag is in the secondary at the 23-yard line.
And it'll probably be either the tight end holding or holding on the tight end. I would think that the 49er tight end held as he come off, or pushed as he came off the line of scrimmage. That'll be an offensive penalty.
Boy, you really know those. How can you figure all those out?
I used to scout the officials, and I knew who called what. And when that deep guy calls them from way back there, it's against the tight end. If he comes running up, it's against.
Offensive pass interference. Number 86, still first down.
Well, if you knew all that, how come you argued so much with him?
Well, because I knew what to argue about and who to argue with. You see, if you don't know who throws the flag and why they threw it, you don't know who to argue with.
And you have made a skill and art of that, I can tell right now.
But I knew that one. When that deep guy back there, the guy that's 30 yards deep, when he throws one up there, it's on the tight end.
So after the penalty now, it's first down, 20 yards to go from the 45. Little delay over the middle to Earl Cooper, and Cooper to the 41, trying to cross him up, picks up 4 yards on the play. Eason Ransom will now come in at tight end. Let's look now at the defensive line play.
As we'll see again here, this is a draw type play or delay with the off guard pulling. The 49ers, in the fact that they really don't run much, they have to run off throwing, which would be draw and delay and those types of plays. They don't really practice the running game and practice running blocking a lot, and that's probably why they don't run well.
49ers this year averaging 99.5 yards a game on the ground. You just further substantiate what you're saying. Back to throw on second down, over the middle. And the man who just checked in, Eason Ransom, who was a starter a couple of years ago for the Cardinals at tight end. He's been playing more and more. In fact, had a very good game last week. Harry Carson credited with the tackle at the 35. And here is a final. Green Bay beating Minnesota, and Detroit still hanging on to that lead in the NFC Central Division.
Right, and Green Bay has been an amazing story. Their comeback this year, haven't they?
They have played so tough. The games that they've lost have been very close, losing tough ones to Pittsburgh, to the Giants. From the 35-yard line.
Four-man line.
Still 10 yards to go. Montana, Dwight Clark. That'll be a first down to the 22-yard line. Whittington making the stop, and you could see Montana getting up. Dwight Clark is one of those guys, John, you used to have like Biletnikoff. He's a possession receiver, not a burning speed man. But boy, is he having a year. He had 55 catches prior to today.
Right, and the thing about Dwight Clark, he's taller, and the way we're getting these pass rushes and these blitzes and the big defensive line, it's nice to have a tall target downfield, especially in that 3rd and 10 or 12 situation. Both of these teams have that.
See Dallas leading Washington. Montana now is 5 of 7, 113 yards. This is Cooper. Got a block from Randy Cross, and he makes it to the 19. Randy Cross ran over John Scorpan, but they still couldn't get that much yardage because Gary Jeter, the 4th-year man from USC, able to make the stop. Thing about Randy Cross, he started his NFL career at center, has moved to a guard spot, and as we mentioned earlier, probably the best offensive lineman in the scheme of things for San Francisco. Now Tabor comes in, McGriff checks out, second down, and still 8 yards to go. Clark to the top, Solomon to the bottom of the screen. 9-0. The 49ers on top. 2:43 left in this first half. That's Solomon in motion. Montana to throw to Solomon. Solomon, he may have the first down. He's very close at the 10-yard line area. Mike Haynes defending on the play. He's just over there visiting with the cheerleaders.
Yeah, what the heck, a little break in the action.
I'm sure you're aware, John, that the 49er cheerleaders have new uniforms this year.
I never knew what the old ones looked like. But on that play, 10.5. Now, on that play, the Giants blitz, they brought both their linebackers and the safety, and Joe Montana did a good job of getting back quick and getting rid of the ball.
I thought you started all the cheerleaders in the NFL.
Yeah, they'll take over. If you let them, they'll take over the game.
First down now, just outside the 10. Going to have a halfback option pass by Woods to Ransom, broken up. At the last instant, it looks like Frank Marion was the man who got the hand on the ball. He had an interception last week. Woods was a quarterback in college, and so he can run and throw at the same time.
I know it. He did it. There was an option out there. He started like he was going to make a run at it. Then he threw it. What he did is he took a little too much off. You always want to lead those things into the back of the end zone. Look at that.
You know, that was Carson, I believe.
Yeah, right. It was Harry Carson. I used to tell my runners that if he's not ridiculously open, don't throw it. And if you're going to throw it up into the stands. And I had that happen. Charlie Smith once threw one in the stands.
Did he get a fine for that?
No.
Here's Montana back now on second down. Dwight Clark. And Clark is out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Dennis defending on the play, but there's a flag at the 6-yard line. And this has been something that's plagued the 49ers. And I think it's going to go against them again. Pushing against the 49ers. Ransom was the man that evidently was guilty as they were motioning towards him. And look at Walsh. He can't believe it. That's just been a continuing nightmare for this team as they have been their own worst enemy.
He's saying, what do we have to do? Let's see if I have another one to get us down there. You know, the sad thing about that play, it was away from the completion. The completion was on the left sideline. The penalty occurred on the right side.
Let's listen now to Red Cashion.
Interference by the offense number 80. Still second down.
That's who it was, Eason Ransom.
You're getting pretty good at picking those guys out.
I'll tell you, I've watched so many films with you this year that I'm starting to get bad eyesight. All those terrible films. No wonder coaches can't see.
That's why. That's how we all go. The first thing to go are the eyes, not the legs.
Second down now, 20 yards to go. Montana. This is his ability that's very good at running. He's going to run 15, 10, a flag as he's at the 9-yard line.
And that one's a clip. Yeah, I saw that. What happened is he started and the linebacker didn't know whether to come up, whether Montana was going to run or throw, so he just waited. The receiver, once he saw Montana run, he came back to get the linebacker, and he could read his name, and he blocked him anyway, and that'll be a clip.
Boy, they're just headed the wrong direction right now. Again, though, Montana did a very good job of running with the football. It got some of their yardage back to about the original line of scrimmage, but of course they'll be stepping off some more yardage as Bill Walsh is probably thinking, what do you got to do to avoid these kind of difficulties?
He's nice to the officials, though. He's not really talking much to them about it.
I think he's in a state of shock. You go one way or the other, don't you?
I know it. I was out on the field before the game, and I was talking to the officials, and Ray Perkins walked by, and I said, Ray, why do you say that you don't like these officials? They're really nice guys. And Ray turned around like he was agreeing with me, and he saw the officials, and he kept going, and he come back and said, that's the way to set me up.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 47 on the offense. Still second down.
It's Don Woods, and Chris Erskine, our director, says we'll be able to see it on this replay.
We're going to
there it is.
See right here. We see the decision here. When Montana decides to run, then Woods used his hands and kind of from the back too.
Second down now, 21 yards to go at the 21. Dwight Clark, top of the screen. Solomon to the back. The 49ers with a 9-0 lead, trying to add to it. Montana in trouble. Gary Jeter with one big hand just dropped him. That's his 6th sack of the year. Jeter's so strong. This guy, in the words of Ray Perkins, has all of the superior tools it takes to be an outstanding defensive end. And there was one of those sacks. The first game this year against St. Louis, and first win of the year for the Giants. He was one of the big factors in the game. We've now come to the 2-minute warning, as the ball now is back out to the 32-yard line. The original line of scrimmage on this was the 11-yard line. And so the 49ers going to have a big play as we have third down coming up.
Here's another Radio Shack Christmas gift idea. Soft, cuddly animals with a surprise inside. A radio. What a delightful gift. There's a raccoon, comic cat, brown spaniel, Pekingese, cuddly cat, and country mouse. It's a musical menagerie for kids and teens alike. The gift-priced Petable portable radios. Only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
I do the Continental to ensure my accidental.
We do the Continental to ensure our residential.
I do the Continental to ensure my developmental. They can insure all I have to insure.
I do the Continental to ensure my instrumental.
I do the Continental to ensure my Continental.
Join the over 4 million satisfied Continental Insurance policyholders.
Do the Continental.
2 special Thanksgiving treats. First, a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Then, a brand new special, Thanksgiving in the Land of Oz. Be watching Tuesday at 8, 7 Central Mountain.
The 2-minute warning has just been executed. It's third down, 32, and who's going to call this play, John?
I know that I never did. I always got a drink of water on 3rd and 32 and backed up. I had my back to the quarterback. 2nd and 2, I had great calls.
Here we go. Oh, mishandle snap from center. They didn't even get that one underway. Looks like San Francisco's. Wait a minute, we've got a flag too. Illegal procedure against.
That'll be against the quarterback.
They'll refuse that one, I'm sure, because they bring up 4th down.
Looks like Joe Montana moved before the ball was snapped.
whatever happened, they did not execute very well on the snap. There was some concern about DeBerg being able to handle the snaps because of the cast, but this one was Montana.
Looks like a hot potato there, doesn't it?
Fred Quillen, the center's probably saying, hey, I don't want this football. I was trying to get rid of it to start with.
I don't think anyone wanted it.
Illegal center by the offense. Still third down.
So they're going to mark the ball back out to the 37. Now, Miller started on the field to punt. It's still third down.
Well, the whistle would blow on that false start before the ball was snapped, so therefore you didn't have the choice to take the play. They just had to use the penalty.
All right, so it's now third down and 37. Even a more difficult situation. Montana to Clark. Clark makes a move to the 30. Clark to the 25, but that's way, way short. Will they get him close enough for a field goal? Ray Wersching is warming up. He is 12 of 16 after picking up 12 yards. Now the 49ers have asked for a timeout.
That's the thing that it did. Of course, it did get him in field goal range. That's all they needed to get in Ray Wersching's range as we watch him. As we watch the play again, you see here Clark does a nice job of catching the ball, running in the open field, getting up and getting down to the 25-yard line.
You didn't hear a lot about Clark in college. He was the other receiver because the other receiver at Clemson was Jerry Butler. But he asked for a tryout with the 49ers. They liked him and they eventually drafted him in the 10th round. Now Ray Wersching started on the field. Now he's trotting off. This is a guy, John, that told us that he never looks at the goalposts when he kicks a field goal.
That's what we used to teach. You know, the hash marks run right down and the goalposts are an extension of the hash mark. So if you look up at the goalposts, they look so narrow when you're kicking a field goal. But if you look at the hash marks and you try and kick in that width between the hash marks, it's a lot easier.
That's interesting. Because I've done that. I've gone on the field and looked at it.
Right, and it keeps your head down. See, now, as a kicker, that looks very, very narrow. Now, if you just come back there and you just stand there and just look right down the hash marks like this, see, then it looks like a much larger thing.
This will be a 43-yard attempt. The longest this year that Wersching has hit has been from 47. Holding is Joe Montana, and he has it. Ray Wersching is able to connect. That's 13 out of 17 this year for the 30-year-old veteran from the University of California. And the 49ers continue to mount a lead here in this first half, and a 12-0 lead. And Wersching, very personable guy. Really enjoyed visiting with him.
Right, he's a nice guy, and he did look right down the hash marks on that one and put it right between them. But he slipped on that kick. You know, the big thing with a kicker, they have a lot of big things, you know, those guys, but the thing that they have is that plant foot. Now watch here as we look again. Now watch his left foot as he goes to plant. Right there, you see it slips. And as he kicks, he goes right down, but he had enough on it to get it up through for the field goal. We'll see it again here. Now the left foot is the big foot for a kicker, his plant foot. And you see as he goes to plant, that plant foot slipped out from under him.
So Ray Wersching with that 43-yarder is now 3 of 4 from 40 to 49 yards. Don't hear a lot about this guy, but he has been very, very good. Last year he hit 20 of 24 and led the National Football League in field goal accuracy. And he got into this one. Alvin Garrett from the end zone. He will not bring it out. The Giants will have the ball at the 20-yard line. They now trail 12-0 as you look at that last drive of 1:38 left in this first half. The thing that the Giants have been facing all the second quarter, John, is they haven't been able to get out of their end of the field.
That's the thing. The field position is so important, and sometimes when you don't get it, of course, you have to create it.
They've already suffered a safety because of that. As Sims comes in.
He's ready to throw.
From the 20, Sims has Freedy to the bottom of the screen. Ernest Gray to the top, gives to Taylor, and that's a mix-up. Sims and Taylor colliding. I guess sometimes, John, that can happen when a back hasn't played for a couple of weeks. A little timing difficulty.
And I think we've seen a few examples of that. The last one when the 49ers had the ball, Joe Montana fumbled. They had a mix-up on a snap again because he hadn't worked as much as a starting quarterback, Steve DeBerg. Then you get a new running back coming back. You get Billy Taylor coming back off an injury. He hasn't worked as much with Phil Simms. So those things do tend to happen.
Loss of 2, second down, 12 from the 18-yard line. Sims now wanting to throw. Has Gray. And Gray is tackled at the 25. Did he get out of bounds? It looks like he did, and stopped the clock with 57 seconds. Ray Rhodes over to make the stop for San Francisco.
Again, now what the Giants are going to have to do is to get the ball up the field. You know, this is nice. It's a 5-yard completion, and he gets out of bounds, but they need some yardage here.
What you're trying to say is they don't have a lot of time. 57 seconds at their own 25-yard line.
Well, they have 3 timeouts, so that's a lot of time, but they need some completions.
On third down conversions, the Giants are 0 for 4 as they come to this one. In motion, Billy Taylor. Sims. Boy, there's just nobody open. Now he has Freedy. Freedy is fumbling the ball. San Francisco looks like Tutalo comes up with it. Now, wait a minute. The official indicating the ball may have been dead when Freedy hit the ground. A big discussion going on right now. And that man, Norm Craigseth, the head linesman, is the man who's in the middle of a controversy. It looked like Tutalo came up with it, but in fact, they say the ball was dead when Freedy made the catch and hit the ground. Let's look at it again.
I think so. I think, but the one official didn't signal anything except to keep the clock going. He didn't figure whose ball it was, and we'll watch it again. See, Freedy, now the thing is, with 3 timeouts, he needs a first down. He doesn't need a timeout. He was trying to stretch to get the first down, and in doing so, he fumbled the ball. But
I think he
the
did
ball
too.
hit the ground, but the ball hit the ground as his arm went down.
All right. I'll go along with that.
Well, his arm hit the ground as the ball went out is what I meant. I agree with the officials.
That's a first.
And it's first.
There's Jennings on fourth down. They were just a half-yard short after all of that. Dwight Hicks calls for the fair catch, and Hicks at the 33, and San Francisco with only 9 seconds left. Well, this 49er team has kept the upper hand in this entire first half of play after that 38-yard kick. With 9 seconds left, Montana checking with Bill Walsh. I guess you could throw one up and try to get the Big Ben play going with that time remaining.
But again, the interesting thing, and Bill Walsh was talking about it yesterday, is last year they would be behind early, and then they would come back and make the score close as they lost. This year, they've been ahead early, and then they've been losing these games in the fourth quarter.
And I'm sure that's exactly what Bill Walsh will remind him of at halftime. From the 33-yard line, Montana now has 3 backs. He's just going to fall on it, and that will end our first half of play. And so San Francisco, trying to end this long drought of 8 straight losses, is off to a good start in the first 30 minutes of play here at Candlestick. A 12-0 lead, as in this game, a field goal by Wershing of 43 yards, a safety, Stuckey hitting Sims in the end zone, and a 66-yard touchdown pass from Montana to Earl Cooper. That play, by the way, was not the longest of the year for this San Francisco team. Earlier this year, they had a 93-yard touchdown pass to Freddie Solomon.
To Freddie Solomon, and that was all Freddie Solomon's run. It was about an 8 or 10-yard pass to the sideline, and Freddie took it up the sideline for 90 yards or so after he caught the ball.
So Dwight Hicks, a young man who they really like, will go into the dressing room as Bill Walsh's team, a team that really where things started coming apart on them was when they lost defensive lineman Dwayne Board. They haven't won a game since he went out. And also they lost Paul Hofer. Hofer, just a very versatile running back receiver type for San Francisco.
Both of those losses hurt them immensely. They were a good team in preseason.
Atlanta, boy, what a story they are. They're 9-3 now, defeating Chicago. They will remain ahead of the Rams, waiting on that game Monday night to see what the Rams do against the Saints. Atlanta is a team that, well, we saw them earlier in the year. We were very impressed with them then, and they have a big game coming up against Philadelphia in a couple of weeks.
Right, and I'm impressed with their running. You know, all the talk this year about the passing and all the statistics, but the one thing Atlanta can do is they can run the ball. They have 2 great runners.
It's 12-0 here at Candlestick. The 49ers with the lead.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Tide's just right. That'll be a full moon. Hardly any wind. And the lowing brow is cold.
Let
Sure beats the office.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Low and Brow.
Sure hope the fish don't bother us.
Simple evolution. After 9 years, the Honda Civic has grown a trunk and 2 more doors, plus a lot of other simple features you'd expect to find in a roomy and comfortable sedan. But because it's a Honda, you also get incredible gas mileage. The Honda Civic 4-door sedan. It's simple evolution.
Honda, we make it simple.
Bick versus Track 2. Who's kidding who?
You're testing Bick against Track 2. Good luck.
Bick against Track 2? I can tell the difference blindfolded.
The results of the Bic Barber test surprised a lot of people. 58% found Bic shape equal to or better than Track 2's.
I can't tell them apart.
Bick, I'm impressed.
Bick, I apologize.
Most men we tested felt
No difference.
And the price?
Big difference.
The incredible Bic, still under a quarter.
Looking good together, looking good.
Tonight, everybody's going on strike. It's labor problems at Archie Bunker's place. And on One Day at a Time, Ann competes with a man over a job.
That was kind of cute, isn't he?
Then on Alice, will Vera's crazy Aunt Agatha get her to quit her job? And on the Jeffersons, Tom and George are shipwrecked.
You and me the only 2 people on this whole island?
Then on the season premiere of Trapper John, Gonzo is accused of sexual misconduct. It all starts tonight at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
And congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles as they become the first team to qualify for the playoffs. They run the record to 11-1. It was a dandy game between Oakland and Philadelphia today, and it was that Eagle defense sacking Jim Plunkett a total of 8 times after a scoreless first half. Tony Franklin nailed a 51-yard field goal, and then the Raiders came back on this play, or across Lester Hayes with an interception.
Really a great interception of Lester Hayes. He's one of the better defensive backs in all of pro football, picking off a crucial play for his defense and setting up a scoring opportunity for his teammates.
Jim Plunkett passing to Cliff Branch, 86 yards and a touchdown, and the Raiders pulled ahead 7-3. Then, in the fourth quarter, with time running out, 1st and 10 for Ron Jaworski, and he goes here to Harris and makes a neat catch.
Great play. First of all, he eludes the defender, keeps his presence of mind, and hits a strike to Harris, who goes down inside the 10-yard line.
Then Wilbert Montgomery scored the clincher, 7 yards out. It was 10-7 Philadelphia. Rest of the scores, let's get you up to date with everything. 28-17, the hard luck Bears lose again. The Falcons win for the 6th straight time. Walter Payton was thrown out of the game. We'll show you that. The final there, Philadelphia over Oakland 10-7. In overtime, the Jets beat Houston 31-28. Earl Campbell held the 60 yards in the game. Houston trailed 21-0 at the half. Bradshaw injured his right knee. He left with the Steelers behind, 28-10. Steelers record now 7-5. They're in danger of falling completely out of the playoffs. And New England rolls over Baltimore. Matt Cavanaugh starts and plays the entire game. Burt Jones injures an arm for the Colts. He was replaced by Greg Landry. Cleveland behind Brian Sipe, who threw for 310 yards and 4 touchdowns, 25 on the year for Sipe. Detroit moves back atop the NFC Central Division, beating Tampa Bay 24-10. Sims rushes for 75 yards. Green Bay wins. The Packers sweep the Vikes for the first time since 1965. The Packers have the best record inside the division, not the overall record in the NFC Central, but that's an important second consideration. Kansas City comes back to beat St. Louis 21-13. 75-yard punt return by J.T. Smith of the Chiefs. And Craig Morton has just run in from a yard out, and the Broncos lead the Seahawks by 7 at the half. Many of you are watching this game. San Francisco shutting out the Giants. And, of course, the rest of you are watching this tussle. And the Dallas Cowboys lead Washington 7-3 at the half. And the NFL Today continues on CBS with highlights after these messages from your local stations.
What to do about a little boy with a big heartache? What to do about the latest in crime sprees? And what about Doc Willard's Wonder Water? Watch 60 Minutes tonight on CBS.